Hey everybody, so this week's episode of Muses Memoirs and More is going to be a really cool one, especially if you are a comic book nerd like me. Cree Michelle Rogers was our special guest this week, and she is a cosplay actress. She did a really awesome job, and I don't want to ruin it, but she got a lot of props from the Black Panther film crew. So check it out, and please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and thanks a lot for listening.
WRUU-LP Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul. Welcome to Muses, Memoirs, and More, Savannah's show about authors, artists, and entertainers. I'm your host, Adam Messer. And welcome, everybody. You're listening to Muses, Memoirs, and More. I'm your host, Adam Messer, and we're coming to you live today from WRUU-LP Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul. And I have a special treat today. This is going to be just super awesome for y'all. We have a lot of comic book nerds in the area. I'm one of them. And our special guest today is none other than Cree Michelle Rogers. Hey, Cree.
Hey, guys. What's going on?
I am so happy for you to be here today with us in the studio. First of all, I'm a big nerd, and I don't want to spoil it. So everybody listening in, Cree is an actress, a writer, producer.
Yes.
She's been cast in. I'm not going to say, but it's already been announced in the news. And for an upcoming major film production here in Savannah, and she's been acting for a long time.
Ooh, yes.
And I have to be honest with you, I'm a big fan of your cosplay stuff. I follow your cosplay stuff. I have been ever since I met you. 4 years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
With the Savannah Stage Company, right? What was it? What was that play called?
It was Midnight.
It was Shakespeare.
Midsummer Night's Dream.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
I remember that. That was a while back.
Yes.
But so. Can you tell us about yourself and tell us who is Cree Michelle Rogers?
That's always a loaded question.
I know, right? It's like, give us all your secrets.
Who are you?
Right.
So I've gotten to the point where I'm able to say that I am a cosplaying actress. That is pretty much in any faction of what I do. There's some form of cosplaying. There's some form of acting. If I'm working at my house for like months on end on a costume, it's either for a production or I'm going to be wearing it or someone's going to be wearing it. If I'm out and about, it's probably talking about, hey, what is the next project Cree's going to get in on? It's a lot of stuff, but all of it can be put into a cute little box that I write on Cosplaying Actress. It all comes together.
And cosplay, really the last 10 years or so has kind of blown up.
Oh, it has. It has surprised me, actually, because I used to be one of the nerds that was like, I want to dress up, and people were like, why would you want to do that?
Why would you want to do that outside of Halloween?
It's cool, guys.
Yeah.
Like, there are characters outside of Superman that you guys need to explore.
I love the Storm outfit.
Thank you.
I love that. I was like, I was a big X-Men nerd as a kid, and I started reading about the same time that Storm took over the X-Men. And, she cut her hair, had the mohawk.
Yes.
The whole Tina Turner look, and just total bad,
She's so awesome.
Yeah. And
Storm,
her powers are so incredible, too. The power of, the weather. It's like, really?
Like of all things, we're just going to pick, you know what? The sun could use a cloud in front of it. Let's give someone that power.
Or I'm going to strike you with lightning.
Yeah, just,
I don't like you. You're messing with my friends. I'm just going to blow you up with lightning. Like, You know,
And it's very important that she has that power. Her, Luke Cage, and Black Panther are all the first 3 black superheroes to
Right.
ever be put into a publication. So when you think about them having to catch up with years of, no representation of black people, they were like, all right, so Black Panther, he's the king of the richest nation in the world,
Right.
most technologically advanced. They had to stack something up on him to make up for the fact that we didn't have a lot. Then you have Luke Cage, bulletproof. Like,
yeah.
no more needs to be said there.
Right,
And then you
right.
have Storm. Okay, so we're introducing a woman into the field. How are we going to do this? What are we going to do? She has to be larger than life because women were in just in general in comics. But now this is the first black woman. She's got to make an entrance. How else is she going to make an entrance? Fly in.
Especially with the, I mean, that was the whole, with the X-Men, they revamped the entire series.
Oh, yeah.
You had the all new X-Men or whatever, and the Uncanny X-Men. And, I always thought Storm was so awesome. So I love your Storm outfit. I think we have a bigger story to talk about though.
We have, yes.
Speaking of Black Panther, and we're going to get into that a little bit more later on in the hour. But I want to talk a little bit more about like your background, how you got into acting, and I want to talk a little bit about, what you're working on currently, what, maybe some of your favorite projects or whatever.
Well,
So when did you first get the bug? When did you first get that itch that you wanted to act?
This was back in middle school.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go ahead and say middle school because that's when I realized that I was okay at math.
Mm-hmm.
I was adept at science. The subjects in school I could handle fairly well, but none of them sparked my interest. Like I couldn't see myself doing long term anything to do with those subjects. And when I was in elementary school, I had a music teacher who would play, Disney music. And she would encourage the kids to get out of their seat and act it out and just be all energetic and have fun with it. So I took that and I ran with it. I was like, I enjoyed that. There's a drama class here. Why don't I try and continue that as much as possible? And I think it was in 8th grade after I performed my second talent show with one of my buddies, I realized I like being on stage.
Yeah.
I like doing this. And
It's very polarizing. It's like, so awesome, and you put so much into it. I mean, it's draining, but it's also so exhilarating.
So rewarding. So
I mean,
rewarding.
you put your whole essence into it, especially
Yes.
if you are really a master of your craft.
Oh, I mean, and there's so much to learn from it, especially about yourself. I was in a summer camp, and the teacher, she was giving out scenes, and a lot of the scenes, we had to be older people, and we're sitting here like 11 to 14.
How do I pretend like I'm older? Right?
Like, yeah, I have a briefcase. I'm an adult,
Yeah.
So one of the scenes we did, I was supposed to be this really reserved, wholesome girl. And my friend was like trying to get me out there. Go see boys, go kiss boys. And I'm still in the ew cooties mindset.
Right,
trying to
right.
pretend like, okay, this is relatable, but I have to talk to boys.
Right.
And there was a part where the director, the woman in charge, stopped the scene and she was like, Cree, how do you feel when she's telling you to kiss a boy? And I made a face. I scrunched up my face. I was like, ew, I'm
Yeah,
good.
right.
She was like, okay, show that. I was like, what do you mean? She was like, that's acting. I want you to show that in the scene. Push
Right.
that as far
That
as you
emotion.
could.
Yeah.
And that was the first time that it sparked that I felt like I was in the scene. I was in the character, and the
You
teacher
were the
gave me-
character.
I was the character.
Right.
Cooties aside.
What was the
you
character's
know.
name?
I cannot remember. That was
It's grade school type play, or
that was a while ago.
yeah.
And it was just a short scene for a class. So.
And by a while ago, she means like 5 years ago.
Oh my
I'm just
God.
kidding.
I am totally an adult.
You're so young. I say that, and I'm like, oh gosh. Everybody tells me I have such a baby face, but I'm actually 42. So
I'm gonna be the same way.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be 60, and people are gonna be like, "Okay, so when are you graduating high school?"
that's a good thing.
Like, I'm grown up.
Excuse me. And everybody listening, tuning in, if you're just now catching up with us, you're listening to Muses Memoirs and More, and I'm your host Adam Messer, and we have our special guest today, Cree Michelle Rogers,
Hey guys.
actress extraordinaire. I should say cosplay actress. Is that how you like?
Yeah, I think
cosplay actress.
there's got to be a way I can make that roll off the tongue.
You could
but
be like the first, famous cosplay actress from Savannah.
that could work.
That would be cool. Or
That
you're from
could work.
Atlanta, right?
I'm from Atlanta, yes.
But Georgia. Let's just say Georgia.
Just Georgia.
Yeah,
We'll make
Georgia.
it work. We'll stretch it.
That's awesome. So, going into like the next stage, well, obviously grade school is cool and all.
Yeah.
As an adult, though, how did you decide that this is what I want to do? Because, it kind of leads into things. It's great. When I was a kid, I wanted to be like a space astronaut.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that you
That's like
want to
first
do.
choice.
Yeah, I was like, it would be so cool to be out in space because I loved Isaac Asimov books, and I was like, oh, I love it. But as you grow up, you're like, oh, well, stuff changes. But for you, it's like a kind of continuation. So what kind of led you into just sticking with it? Because a lot of people kind of drop things after high school that they did in high school, and they just don't, it's not their thing anymore.
My group has a motto. If you loved it as a kid, why would you let it go? Mm-hmm. I loved waking up Saturday mornings and watching cartoons. Mm-hmm. I loved playing pretend on the playground. I loved doing all that stuff. I remember the first time I was disappointed by playing with some kids that I didn't know. I was trying to get them to play Sailor Moon with me, and they hadn't watched the show, so they didn't know what
context.
to do.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, you have to do this, and then there are poses, and then, you have to, it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
So when I got older and I was like, I watch movies. Mm-hmm. I watch TV. Obviously, acting is a career.
Right.
And then, of course, when you find out about stage plays like The Lion King, you're like, well, they're acting and getting paid.
Right.
You go on a cruise ship, you see actors on the cruise ship performing. Right. Why not? You loved it. You feel the passion for it. You're going to do whatever you can to make it happen. So, genuinely, it was a why not? And if you're going to do it, you do it all the way. My dad, he's a preacher, and
I like how you just pointed your finger.
Like,
people might, if you're watching Facebook Live, you can watch us on Muses Memoirs and More, and you can actually see Cree. And Cree, you're doing your Instagram Live?
Instagram and Facebook. I'm trying it out. I've got like 3 of me.
Where can they check out the Facebook Live? Because it's probably the easiest one for people.
Cree Michelle Rogers or brown.sugar.outlaw on Instagram and Facebook.
Okay, cool. So she just was like, she was talking about her daddy, and she was like pointing that finger, like that preacher finger, like, hey, if you're going to do it, you better do it all the way.
You better do it all the way. And
right.
he said it in an interesting way, because my dad, I think that was actually one of my first experiences seeing performing, was my dad preaching, because he's done it all my life. And what's interesting is that he said, if you're going to mess up, do it all the way.
Okay, gotcha.
It's an interesting way to learn about yourself, to learn about getting into things, to start thinking over, because he was very like, let's get it hands-on in his youth, and it led him to learn a lot of lessons.
Nice.
So he would say, if you're going to mess up, don't sneak around, don't, muddle in it. No, go in. Do it or don't.
Right.
And I kind of took that with me, because it's really important to know that when you decide to do something and
you
feel that conviction, do it.
Go all the way.
Do it.
Be all in. I love that. One of the phrases that I love, and this is one of those things that I hear a lot, but one of the things that I love is, what's better than perfect? Done. Get it done. And if you're going to do it the best that you can. You might not have all the resources. You're probably not going to have all the resources starting off. You don't have clues. Sometimes you don't even know what questions to ask. But if you have that spark and you start every day just learning something new, like this radio show is something new for me. You said this is the first time you've ever been on radio, right?
Yes.
So it's something new for you.
This is different.
It's different, but it's kind of cool though, right?
Yeah.
Are you is it what you thought it would be at first, or?
It's exactly what I thought it would be. I'm loving it, actually.
That's awesome.
It's the being enveloped in the voices, to the fun of conversation.
Yeah.
And if I wasn't live, I wouldn't have to worry about my appearance. I was doing my hair, and I'm like, wait, I'm going to be on the radio. No, I'm going to be live. Okay, let's continue doing the hair.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. That's cool. But yeah, I think it's cool to try new things out, and it's when you're, like what you're talking about with your dad. I love that. Because I try to tell my kids the same kind of thing. If you're going to be bold, be bold.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it, do it.
Do it.
And don't halfway do it.
Yes.
And that's okay. If you start something and you're like, you know what, this isn't for me, it's okay to sever that and move on, because everything has a season.
Yes.
And if you're going to fail fast and fail up. You learn from it, move on.
Yes.
And I love that your dad gave you that, and that's something that you take with you and that you share with other people.
Yeah, yeah. So
if you're listening in right now, if you're just tuning in, you are listening to Muses Memoirs and More on WRUULP Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org, We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul. I'm your host, Adam Messer, and our special guest today is Cree Michelle Rogers, cosplay actress extraordinaire. And I'd like to share with you about our summer business auction. This is how this program and other programs in our station actually come to you and be able to provide the content that we have and the different programs that we have. So I want to read this to you. It's about our summer business auction. For 10 days in August, WRUU 107.5 FM will be auctioning off more than $3,000 worth of fun and unique items to raise money to support this nonprofit community radio station. WRUU radio hosts have worked hard to gather items to delight and dazzle. From August 11th through August 21st, you can bid on gift cards and certificates for great local restaurants and bars, arts, theater, fitness, and much more. Browse the catalog today. Every purchase will help WRUU continue to bring you Savannah's most diverse and passionate radio programming. Look for the Summer Business Auction on WRUU.org. And you can also find the link. It's just started today, everybody. We got the live link and all that. It started this morning, and there's already auction people bidding on the stuff. There's a lot of really interesting things on there. And you can get the link on our Facebook page. It's www.facebook.com /SAV Soundings, or I think you can get it. You just type in WRUU LP. So I put it on the Muses Memoirs and More page as well. And I just want to thank all of our donors who are helping support our station. And so I thank you all for listening as well. So back to the program here, where we're actually talking a little bit about your background with acting and how that spark happened and the continuation as an adult. And I like that phrase, your motto with your group. If you liked it as a child, why let it go? And I think a lot of times people forget that childhood innocence in a way, or their unbridled passion for life. Some people just feel like, oh, I can't do it. I don't have the resources. I don't know where to take acting classes at. So I'd always want to be an actress, or an actor, but I have no idea. And I couldn't be like, so and so on the stage, and people are negative like that. And I think the can-do attitude, like your can-do attitude is really cool. And I think it also has built and led into other roles for you, right?
It has just the idea of saying, you decide to do this, do it. It really helps push me forward in anything I do. If I don't end up in the lead role in this, it's okay, because that's going to lead to someplace else.
Right.
Just being in the company of some people can, move things around.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Speaking of that, being in the company of other people.
Yes.
It's, in my opinion, I don't know, of course I just said that it's in my opinion, but the way I feel about it is when you're around people who have a really good work ethic and that they have ambition and they are contributors and collaborators, it's especially in the creative community, it's so interwoven and so connected. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it is just about, being with the right people.
Yes.
And sometimes it's about not being around the wrong people.
Oh my gosh.
And there's a lot of folks out there that they want a shortcut to success. Mm-hmm. And so I just try to disengage with those folks.
Oh yeah. I've worked with way too many people in the amount of time that I've been acting, even been cosplaying, and I've had to cut people off. I've had to let people go. People have even let me go because our ideas didn't align. It's not so much that we might have been bad for each other,
Right.
but we just weren't going towards the same thing.
Right.
And that's totally fine.
And that's I think that's part of the creative process as well, because you have to learn, you have to figure out like, hey, this is right or this is not right.
Yeah.
This person, because it's kind of weird when you're in the public view. Neither one of us are super famous, right? We're just like local.
Yeah.
We do stuff.
Chill people.
Yeah. But sometimes you get people that want to attach themselves to what you're doing or your project or whatever. And I think for every time in that, I'm just trying to help clear out some of these thoughts that people have, like these misconceptions
Yeah.
that people have about like, oh, whatever.
She's done this, he's done that, so they must be up there doing this, that, and the third. And it's like, no,
Yeah,
I'm pretty much
there are
still
a lot
slumming
of
it like
good
y'all.
people. There are a lot of good people out there, and the reason why I bring that up is because recently there's been a lot of, like the last year or two, there's been a lot of the Me Too movement with people being exposed in Hollywood for being somebody else, that they had one persona in public, and then and I think that there's a lot of room out there still for people. There are a lot of good people out there that want to genuinely everyone to be successful.
They're really, it'll surprise you. I'll let you introduce the topic, but once we get there, I have a few stories about my time in San Diego that prove just that. And I've managed here, just on the acting side, to finally find my team, the Mongooses. We love you so much. Speaking for you, Val, Alex, all of you. My team, the Mongooses, we came together for the 48-hour film fest, and it was so natural. And all of us were shocked. Like, literally throughout the entire time, we sat there looking at each other like, you're going to stab me in the back now, aren't you? Nope, he's going to have an attitude. No, he's cool with it. He put the knife down. Oh, we're okay. We were on edge the entire weekend because we were like, there's no way.
Stress.
It's such a stressful environment.
Yeah.
It's such a short amount of time. Something's bound to just like
snap.
Someone
Yep.
is bound to snap. And it wasn't the case. We all had the same goals. We all came to the group saying, this is what I do. And I'm pretty good at it. So when you have someone who has that confidence, that ambition to say, this is what I do, you can have your opinions, but my area of expertise, and you have people who respect that is their area of expertise, things just blossom and they grow from there. And it was an amazing lesson that weekend in how to trust people and how to work with people.
That's the part of the point that I'm trying to get at with the industry. It has a bad rep for fake people.
Yes.
And I think there's a lot of genuine people out there, especially, and when you're talking about local level stuff, there are a lot of good people here in Savannah.
Yeah.
I met some people from Atlanta and different places and all, and I just want people to realize that it's not everything that you see. The folks that are out there doing the bad stuff, I would say that they're the exception to the rule.
It's a known thing that the worst, meanest, and stupidest people are often the loudest.
Yeah.
So you can't, I never go into a group or a situation and hear the loudest person in the room, not specifically person, but loudest example, loudest moment, loudest anything.
The
in the room.
me, the tension.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead, have your attention from someone else. I'm
Yeah.
not about to apply that to everyone in the room. I'm not about to apply that to anybody else who I may meet in a similar situation. You're right. There are a lot of good people out there who just want to see the world be better.
Yeah, and I think there's a difference between being an amateur and a professional. Mm-hmm. You might not do a ton of production, but you can still be professional.
Yes,
and
you can.
You might do a lot of production and still be an amateur.
Yes,
and we all know those folks.
Yes.
So that's one of the little issues that I wanted to cover, because in the show we try to talk about some of the nuts and bolts and try to reveal the curtains and say, hey, this is what it's like a day in the life of Cree.
Yeah.
This is what it's like as an actress. And
there are a lot of cookies in the life of Cree, just so you guys know. Like, that is standard cookies.
Cookies. We love cookies. So with the and after the break, at the half an hour break, we're going to talk about, but I want to give everybody like a little teaser about what's coming up. So Cree, and guys, this is really, really interesting. She and her group of cosplayers went to San Diego Comic-Con. They were invited to go. They raised the funds to pay for the trip in a couple days or something like that?
In 2 weeks, we had all of my amazing friends and family, all of our amazing friends and family donate to support us and get us all the way to San Diego and back. It was like a movie. It was a Disney Channel movie from the early 2000s.
And after the break, we're going to talk about that. So we're going to talk about, how did it happen, where, that kind of thing. And I think it's a really interesting story. because I was watching it unfold on Facebook. And I was like, wow.
Like, yeah,
and then all these photos and everything. So we got that coming up. Before we've got about another 5 minutes before the half an hour break. So let's get back to, you are an adult. You graduate high school, right? And you're like, this is real.
Yes, I'm a grown up.
Yeah. And you get into acting, and you get into, the outside of high school realm of acting. You know what I mean? When was the first time you actually did something that was not with school? It was kind of like a different production.
This is another miracle story. Oh my gosh. I was that in life, when you decide to chase your passion, I'm gonna be real, there are a lot of downs. Mm-hmm. You will go through a lot of downs before you get to the ups. That is true across the board. So I was in one of those down moments where I was in between jobs, just lost one of those terrible people that we've talked about whose goals didn't align, and I needed something to pay the bills, something to get myself together. Mm-hmm. And I lucked up on a Craigslist ad. It was a casting call that actually Anthony Pederuski put out.
Now, Craigslist, you weren't kind of leery at first? It was like...
I know the signs to look for. If someone doesn't say their name, give a phone number, or they don't put like their location is in Savannah, I don't deal with the post.
Okay, so that's a little pro tip there too, everybody.
Yes.
If you're dealing with Craigslist or any kind of online ad, you want to make sure it's legit.
Yes.
And Anthony's super legit. But so it was just by chance that
it
you
was
saw...
literally by chance. They were looking for background extras. It was going to be a SAG. It was actually a commercial for Prudential.
Okay.
And it was going to be filmed in Forsyth Park. They just needed background people, $150 a day. And then at the bottom, he was like, yeah, and if you get picked to speak or anything like that, it goes up. And I'm like, okay, I hope. But, that $150 is going to pay like this bill and that bill. And then I can stretch it with this bill. And, I was already planning for the $150. Mm-hmm. So I get there. I do the audition. It was actually my first time in the Muse warehouse. I missed that building so much.
I loved it.
Oh, my gosh.
I have a little story about the Muse.
Really?
Yeah, but I'll tell that later. I want to hear this.
Okay, so I do the audition with Anthony, just simple pictures, hearing my voice. And this was the first time I met him. And as I'm leaving, he's like, wait, let me take a regular picture if you want to send it to the producers. I'm like...
And everybody listening, if you don't know Anthony, he is also a very prominent headshot photographer. That's not his main thing. That's one of the things he does.
One of his many things.
Yeah, but he's really, really good at it.
And you can hear tap dancing.
I don't know.
I'm just going to put that out there and see what happens if people ask him to tap dance.
But he has like kind of a signature look for his portraits. And I do photography too, and I love his portraits.
Yeah. He's understatement. But this was before I knew anything about him.
Right. This some dude off Craigslist.
Just some dude off Craigslist who has, other people outside, seems professional. Okay, cool, awesome. So he sends that picture in, and I get an email later on that day saying, hey, they really loved your look. They want to use you as one of their, people to push forward. Mm-hmm. Now, that I have no experience in film at this point. I've come from theater. I know theater terms. So when they're saying this stuff and they're organizing stuff, I have no idea what's going on. But I spent the entire day in the freezing cold, halfway in costume, because no one was really communicating. It was all over the place.
And that can happen on set.
It can happen. So I have no hard feelings.
It will happen
on
set.
Yes, it will happen on set. Okay, y'all. So it was like, okay, let's just go this one step at a time. At the end of it all, I gave this super clumsy thank you. I mean, I barely got the words out to the director for choosing me. Mm-hmm. I was like, thank you so much.
I'm freezing.
All right, bye-bye. Yeah. And that turns into my very first SAG film credit.
Wow.
It was a national commercial. I was getting royalties. I was like, oh my gosh, this is too much. All I wanted to do was pay my electric bill, maybe,
Yeah,
and I ended up being able to move on with my life because of it.
Did you have that feeling like, is this real?
Oh, yeah, I still don't believe that. Now I know it's real.
Yeah.
But it took like 2 years.
Like, wow.
Oh, yeah, no, that was not a thing, It was like, this doesn't just happen. This doesn't just show up, you know?
Right.
Things like that. And since then, I've gotten super lucky with other films. I've started doing extra work. And the extra parts that I was getting were like small groups. Yeah. So I'd get a lot of screen time. I'd get a lot of one-on-one time with the directors. Mm-hmm. For example, Birth of a Nation was one of the films that I did. And I'm just one of the slaves in the field picking cotton, doing what I'm doing. And the camera is sitting here right in my face. If I look into the camera, they have to call cut because, I've broken the fourth wall.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, just pick the cotton, just do what you're supposed to do. I'm getting into character. Turns out that take that they loved it so much they used it in all of their advertising, their promotions.
Wow.
If you look up Birth of a Nation video, you'll see my face. Just boom,
Right
whip snaps,
there.
and I'm like,
Wow.
oh gosh, you know?
Hold that thought. Hold that thought. That's so awesome. We're going to do our station break right now. So thank you for listening in. You're listening to us on Muses Memoirs and More. And hang on for the second half of this awesome interview with Cree Michelle Rogers. We're going to go more into about the acting, and then we're going to talk about Black Panther and some other stuff after the break. So thanks, everybody. Hold on one second.
WRUULP Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul.
The Ogeechee Riverkeeper offers monthly canoe and kayak excursions in all of the river's watershed through October. This year's paddles will take adventurers from the river's twisting and turning northern sections near Wadley, west of Augusta, to broad coastal stretches near Harris Neck, south of Savannah. The trips range from beginner to intermediate in difficulty. Boat rental is available. For more information, visit ogeecheeriverkeeper.org.
Tune in Saturdays at 3 p.m. to Muses Memoirs and More, your show about authors, artists, and entertainers with your host, Adam Messer. You're listening to WRUULP Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul.
For 10 days in August, WRUU 107.5 FM will be auctioning off more than $3,000 worth of fun and unique items to raise money to support this nonprofit community radio station. WRUU radio hosts have worked hard to gather items to delight and dazzle. From August 11th through the 21st, you can bid on gift cards and certificates for great local restaurants and bars, art, theater, fitness, and much more. Browse the catalog today. Every purchase will help WRUU continue to bring you Savannah's most diverse and passionate radio programming. Look for the summer business auction at WRUU.org.
And welcome back, everybody. If you're just now tuning in, you are listening to Muses Memoirs and More. I'm your host, Adam Messer, and you're catching us on WRUULP Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul. And today, my special guest is cosplay actress, Cree
yes.
Michelle Rogers. And this first half, we were talking about like your background and, just kind of cool stuff. And then right before the break, we were talking about how you answered a Craigslist ad.
Yes.
And got into like this national commercial, and then you were in Birth of a Nation as an extra, and then they used it as all of their promotional stuff for the movie. I mean, it was a huge movie.
Oh, yes.
I mean, it was a really won a lot of awards too, right?
A passion project that ended up being bought up by Fox at Sundance. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. So the second half, we're going to talk more about your acting career, and let's start it off though with talking about this Black Panther cosplay trip. And everybody, this is a real treat because Cree is a cosplay actress. She does a lot of really cool characters. Earlier, we were talking about Storm.
Yes.
And you were talking about how important that was because she was the first African American female character, right?
Yes.
In comics, and that's one of my favorite cosplays that you've done, and I love the I'll be honest with you. I said this the other day. I have not watched Avengers: Infinity War. I have not watched Black Panther yet. So I know I'm gonna have to. I know I'm gonna have to have the spoilers here, but. These are two movies that I want to wait and see on Netflix because I have Netflix. I don't really buy a whole lot of DVDs or movies or anything like that.
I mean, it's 2018.
Yeah, but the cosplay that you all did, and everybody in the group was awesome. I'll be honest with you. Everybody in the group was awesome.
Yes.
You look like you could be a stand-in double. I think. I mean,
I
honestly,
thought about that. You want to know what's funny? I am way too tall.
Doesn't matter.
Denai is 5'6", 5'7". I am 5'11". There would be this automatic difference in the height of the camera. They'd be like, okay, send in the stunt double. Oh, nope, she's too tall.
you could
Gotta put
do
that back
battle
down.
scenes, and you could do other stuff that's like, totally cool. I mean, I think, if people didn't know, because I didn't know how tall the actress was.
Oh, yeah.
If they didn't know, and I mean, you could easily be mistaken. I think. I mean, because you have that look, and I think it looks awesome. So let's talk about this. Let's get into this whole shebang. First of all, how did anybody even hear about you doing this cosplay?
So I am part of a cosplay group called the Usual Rangers 5. Instagram and Facebook, Usual Rangers 5. And we
And
started.
they are a Power Rangers group, right?
Yes, we
Yeah, so
started
for
with the
folks that don't
Power
know.
Rangers.
Right.
It was just a thing that me and my boyfriend Jerry Pringle did. It was just, do. Hey, you like Power Rangers? I like Power Rangers. I found the suits. Oh, you want to wear them? Yeah, let's do it. So we started getting people. We had 2 of our friends from college, his brother, his little sister at one point, and we went to Dragon Con, wore it, and it was this big splash.
Big hit, yeah.
And we were like, oh, I guess people like this.
And you
Do they
all
like
have
it as much
done
as we do?
some of the comic book conventions around here too, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
Savannah Mega Comic Con.
I remember because I was taking photos.
Yes.
That was me.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll see you later then. Yeah, bye.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. So we started off with that, and then once Black Panther came out, we had toured our black superheroes for a while. Jerry was already Black Panther. I was Storm. We had a Blade, Blue Marvel or Luke Cage, and then we had Brother Voodoo. Brother Voodoo was our other member, Chris. And once we started doing that, we found out about Black Panther coming out, and we're like, so you guys know we're going to do this, right?
Right.
Like, I mean, it's
Right.
a movie with an all-black leading cast. And
Right.
we are literally a black cosplay
Which
group.
is super rare. I mean, it's like kind of a new.
It is a new phenomenon.
Yeah.
People try to bring Blade up, and it's like, yeah, he was black-led, but not the only. He was the only black male in the foreground. When you have a cast that everyone looks.
Blade was important. I think it was. I love the movies, but it's almost like talking about apples and oranges.
Yeah.
And I think the whole movement with Black Panther was so cool because it was a different scene. It was totally different the way it was produced and the way that they did the.
It was on a much grander scale. Black Panther's whole thing is that Wakanda is a nation that was never colonized.
Right.
So they were never able to find Wakanda. They were never able to get its resources. So what would happen if the story basically surrounds itself with what would happen if Africa wasn't colonized?
Right.
Where would everybody be? How developed would Africa really be? And when you think about how deep of a story that is, especially when it hits you like historically in the chest, you're like, no, that's very important. That's something that we definitely have to be a part of to celebrate. And we're just thinking, we're going to celebrate it. We're going to cosplay it, you know? So we have, we get our suits together. We have our Eric Killmonger. We have our M'Baku. We have Black Panther, of course. We have our Wakabi. We have me as Nakia. And we're like, okay, we're good. We're good. We found out about a few events in Atlanta that were doing a premiere. And we were like, do you guys want cosplayers to come? They were like, yes, please come, cosplayers. So it's funny because the first event we went to, we didn't even get a chance to see the movie until the very last showing because we were so busy taking pictures.
I bet you everybody swamped you.
It was
Yeah,
scary.
I saw you guys had tons and tons of photos, and
That was the first time our group actually went viral.
so you were up in Atlanta. People were like digging it big time, right?
Yes.
And next thing you know,
Well, we went viral because one person shared a picture of us and they were like, if people can do this for Star Wars, why can't, black people enjoy this for Black Panther? Let's up the ante a little bit. So that went everywhere. Then Lupita, who played Nakia in the movie, and Winston C. Duke, who played M'Baku, both shared our group's picture.
wow, I bet that was a awesome feeling.
It broke my phone. I'm looking at my phone, making a post because I'm also doing my 28 Days of Black Cosplay, where I cosplay as a different black female in, movies, animes, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm making my post for that for the day, and my phone is freezing up on me. I'm like, why can't... All right, I'll just restart it. I restarted, turn it back on, and I see Lupita's name 3 times on my screen. I'm like, whoa, that's that's pretty personal there. Why is she on my phone? And I click it, and it's her sharing my picture.
Wow.
And I'm like, this is amazing.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Awesome. This movie is opening doors for multiple people. This
Right.
is great because I wasn't the only cosplayer that she shared. And I
Right.
was so happy to see cosplayers, the nerds getting
Yeah.
some shine
Right.
for once. So that was okay. Awesome. We let it die down a little bit. Infinity War came out. That's when I debuted my Okoye costume. And that was a headache to make. Oh my gosh, I say the joke that costume designers don't like cosplayers because of the amount of detail and work they put into these costumes. It's amazing, but as a cosplayer, it's like, where am I going to get fabric like that? How am I going to make this attached to that? Will that even move when I walk,
Yeah.
So we posted our pictures as of us, representing Wakanda at the Infinity War, because when you see Infinity War, you know that Wakanda is a big part of it. Mm-hmm. And when we posted those pictures, not much happened. It didn't explode as much as Atlanta, but we were like, cool, we have these costumes, we'll move on.
Yeah.
So we're sitting here planning for Dragon Con, which is in 3 weeks. Yes, I am hyperventilating. 3 weeks till Dragon Con. And I see a little message. Greg Hops has commented on one of my pictures. I'm like, Greg Hops, he's not following me. I don't know a Greg Hops. So I click it. And he's asked, hey, your Okoye is really good. Do you want to come to San Diego Comic-Con and meet Ruth Carter? I was like, you're just gonna say that?
Just
Like,
out of nowhere.
Hey, it's like, hey, do you want to?
Like, do you want to go get something to eat?
Yeah,
It's so
let's
casual.
go to the store. It's so casual.
yeah.
I'm like, yes, of
course.
yes. I don't know how many other ways to say hi.
Yeah.
Yosh. Like, what else am I supposed to say? I'm like freaking out. So I let the group know, and turns out that our M'Baku was contacted because he saw him on my page, and he was like, that's a really good M'Baku too. So I'm like, okay, so this has to be a thing. This has to be a thing. And since Jerry made the M'Baku costume, it was like only fitting that he definitely come along. So that's when I made the post. I let everybody know, hey, I was invited. I don't know if this is going to happen because this is
Right.
such a pipe dream.
Right.
And I had one friend, Corey, my friend Corey, he commented, he was like, you need to start a GoFundMe. Do it now. I was like, well, those things don't really work. And he's like, do it.
Nice.
So I was like, okay. All right. So I started the GoFundMe. I didn't even make it public yet. I told the group, I'm like, should we do this? And they're like, press go, make
Yeah,
it live, do
right.
it. Cree, what are you hesitating for? And I do it. And when I tell you it was the most stressful 2 weeks of my life, I am not exaggerating. It was pain. It was such a dream that when you're like, please donate, guys, even $1. Like, if everybody I knew donated $1, we'd be there by now. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
So many people are like, good luck. Oh my gosh, I hope you make it. I hope you do this. I hope you do that. And it's like, I need you to donate. So
What I think is really funny and interesting is that I'd asked you to be on this show before all that even happened.
Yeah.
And then this just kind of blew up, and you kind of, your whole group just kind of just took off,
yes,
and everybody, they were it like made national news, right?
San Diego news. It made it was on the news in Savannah a few times. We made there were quite a few interviews that we did in San Diego. It was genuinely crazy.
And I think it put some stuff on the map now.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I think it kind of, like you were talking earlier, it opened up some doors for other people too. Because it's like, hey, why can't we do this? Why can't, people do this for Star Wars? Why can't we do this for, Black Panther?
Yeah.
And, of course, you did. You did do it. And it's a thing now.
It's a moment in my history that I can look back and be like, I've been to San Diego. I've never been to the West Coast before. So it was a complete shock for me to just be like, okay, from literally one end of the world to the other. And for such a big reason as going to meet the woman who made the suits that I'm wearing,
Yeah.
the things that I made on my sofa eating Cheetos for like 3 days straight.
Right.
She's like, oh yeah, I designed that. Come on over and let's talk.
That's
and I'm like,
awesome.
"What?"
Yeah.
And it was amazing because closer to the end, we were like, maybe this won't happen. Maybe
It's like,
we should just...
like no budget versus multi-million-dollar
Yeah.
budget. And you make the presentation almost identical.
We'll get to that in a second because that is like the main thing. That is the
Yeah.
main crux of what we do. So
Hold that thought. Let me just let everybody know where we're at. So you're listening, if you're just tuning in, or you're listening to Muses Memoirs and More. I'm your host, Adam Messer, and you're listening to us on WRUULP Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul. And our special guest today is Cree Michelle Rogers. She is a cosplay actress extraordinaire. And I also want to share with you, before we go back into the interview, I want to share with you about our summer business auction. So for 10 days in August, WRUU 107.5 FM will be auctioning off more than $3,000 worth of fun and unique items to raise money to support this nonprofit community radio station. WRUU radio hosts have worked hard to gather items to delight and dazzle. From August 11th, which is today, through the 21st, you can bid on gift cards and certificates for great local restaurants and bars, art, theater, fitness, and much more. Browse the catalog today. Every purchase will help WRUU continue to bring you Savannah's most diverse and passionate radio programming. Look for our summer business auction at WRUU.org. And I just want to thank everybody who donated, and all of you who are helping us to raise funds for programs like this and other programs here. So thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. And Cree, thank you so much for coming on today. It's been pretty awesome.
No, this is a lot of fun. Thank you for having me. Oh my God, I got to say it. Thank you for having me.
So you get out to San Diego.
Yes.
And it just explodes. It's like, I mean, I remember seeing like a bazillion photos and so many cool, like what was that whole spin thing that they were doing?
That was pure luck. Okay, so when we get to San Diego, after thanking Ruth Carter and all the other costume designers who actually donated to our fund to get us there, so it's not just let's go meet these people. They're like, hey, I want to donate to your trip. You have you have this guy. He shows up in a Killmonger costume. Of course, we don't have our Killmonger at the time. And he shows up, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to be your guide. I'm going to help you guys out and help you guys walk around. So we're talking to him. He's leading us around. He's like, yeah, your costumes are great. So there's this thing that you should go to. It's this circle where you can get on the stage, and you can just pretty much spin around, and they record you. It's pretty cool. So we go there. And they have a line for cosplayers, and they have a line for, regular people who want to just hold props and stuff. They get us over there, and they're like, okay, so you guys go in the cosplayer line. We're like, okay, I guess we'll just wait our turn. We're just, we're here just like you guys. And they're like, all right, Black Panther crew, you're up. We're like, oh, all right, let's get on this thing. So we get on it. It's for the Overwatch Payload Tour. So the background's all Overwatch. You have
and Overwatch is a really popular game from Blizzard. Everybody that is listening, because we have people that listen in that they don't have context of what we're talking about. So it's been a really popular video game.
Sorry guys, I can nerd out sometimes. So you've got this stage. We get on there and we get ourselves arranged, and they're like, okay, on the count of 3, we're gonna tell you that it's gonna start moving, and then it's gonna record. So get your poses ready, get everything ready. And we're like, okay, so this is what we're gonna do. We're like plotting, and we go 1, 2, 3, break, or whatever we do to get ourselves psyched up. We get in our poses, the thing starts, and that's how we take the video. And it was surreal because after we finished the video, people were literally cheering for us, and we're like, we didn't do anything, guys. We're just posing. And they're like, no, you guys look great. Oh my gosh. And we're like, oh, stop.
It's really kind of the closest thing people will see to actually being on set.
And that is one of the things that my group really loves to do. Whatever cosplay we do, we have cosplays planned for the future, the cosplays that we're doing now, we want to put the character in front of you. Because there's nothing truer for a nerd than to say, I really wish I could meet this character in real life.
Right.
So if you meet a cosplayer who looks like the character, brings the character to life, does that extra notch to bring that character and put it in front of you, it makes your day. Mm-hmm. It makes you so happy. There's this guy, he's Tank Smile on Instagram. He does a great, oh my gosh, just Tank Smile on Instagram. When you see it, I don't want to spoil it for you. He's amazing. Anyway, we met him and we were talking to him, and he was like, you guys are really good at the accent. For a second, I had to remember what he was talking about, because our group, one of the things that we do for the Black Panther cosplay is that we speak in a Wakandan accent. So we'll be talking to people like this, and they'll be like, oh, where are you from? What are you talking about? We are from Wakanda. Where else would we be from? And they're like, no, really, where are you from? Oh, I'm from Savannah, Georgia. But when we are in front of people, we talk like this.
Yeah.
And it brings everything to life. People love it. People enjoy it. And That's what we want to do for adults and children, because this isn't just for kids. This is
Right.
for the adults who grew up and don't get to explore these things but once a weekend, you know?
Right. I think, interestingly enough, I think cosplay is, when you're talking about something like this, is an amazing outlet for people to be able to see their favorite characters in person. Sometimes, you see costumes and you're just blown away. You're like,
Yes.
how in the world? Like you said, you were sitting on your couch eating Cheetos for 3 days.
3 days, 3 days, 3 months. I'm not even going to say 3 days. Like
3
we
months.
we watch cosplay videos a lot. We watch a
Right.
lot of contests and such. There was this one contest we watched where this guy, and I I always give the disclaimer, I'm not exaggerating. This guy brought the devil from, I can't remember what video game it was, but he brought him to life. He had smoke coming out of his mouth.
Wow.
He was like over 7 feet tall, horns. I mean,
Wow.
the detail and the lighting
Wow.
detail that he put into this costume, it blew us away. What blew us away more was that he didn't even place in the competition.
What?
Yes, that's how amazing these costumes can get. And if he didn't
That kind of
place,
goes into some of the political.
Oh,
I don't want
yeah.
to even really get into that, but
but you have to understand that if he was that good, imagine who won, you know? That's how far cosplay can go.
I've seen judges' favorites and I've seen fan favorites. Mm-hmm. And I like judges' favorites, but I've always been one of those ones that fan favorites are better to me, because it's what the majority really liked.
Yeah.
And I honestly I've never cosplayed really. I've been to those conventions around Savannah, and I've seen a lot of really, really cool cosplays. I was kind of blown away with what your group did.
You were.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was really neat, and like I said, we were talking about before. I'd asked you to be on the show before that even happened.
Yeah.
Before that was even a thing, and this was kind of a neat little thing to be able to talk about. Because it's something different. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't happen every day, and it's kind of like a once in a lifetime opportunity, but it'll open up other doors.
Yes.
Because now you can say, hey, this is a pretty cool experience that we had, and be able to.
Because one thing that did happen, we were at the mixer talking to people. They invited us to the Costumers Guild mixer, so we're sitting here talking to people who designed the Thor outfit that we all know from the Marvel movies.
Right.
The person who designed Baby Groot. Like,
Wow.
I'm talking to the person who designed Baby Groot.
Wow.
And he's this down-to-earth, really relaxed Anthony Francisco. I'm talking to people who literally worked on the Black Panther, who designed the Dora Milaje and who helped with concept designs for all these characters. And when
Right.
you go on their Instagrams and you're looking through the pictures, you're like, I recognize all of these characters, and you did that? They're like, yeah.
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 A lot
It's
of
like-
people are humble.
They're so
Yeah.
humble and they're
Yeah.
so kind. And that goes back to what you mentioned before, where it's like, there are so many nice people
Oh,
in
yeah.
the world.
I think there's
and-
more nice people than there are
Oh
mean
my
people.
gosh, there are so many nice people, and they're so busy doing good that they don't have necessarily the time to always stop all of the evil. Some evil is going to seep through, but the good people work in the shadows. I mean, they're literally a whole bunch of Batmans, if you will, going around the world helping people in the shadows. It was an amazing experience, and one of the things that happened, because someone was so nice, the gentleman who designed the Dora Milaje costumes, his name is Anthony Francisco. He invited us to Marvel Studios.
What?
Oh my gosh.
What was that like?
Does Zach get it?
We have a few minutes left, so let's.
Ooh. Oh yeah,
let's
sorry.
That's okay. What was that like?
It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Just literally, we went into the elevator. He met us there. We had our badges checked, all that stuff. We go in the elevator. We go up to the second floor, and the doors open, and you see Marvel Studios, like you've seen in front of all
Right,
these movies. Just
right.
Marvel Studios, big and on the wall with the galaxy behind it. And we were like, you know what? We don't have to go in. This was enough. We're good.
We made it here.
We're done.
We're
We
good.
got the
yeah.
story. It was San Diego was amazing. Everyone was so warm, so welcoming. They had so much advice and knowledge, and they were. I mean, I can't talk about how kind these people were. And I can't say enough about all the people who helped us get there. You know, all the friends and family who donated. And even if they couldn't donate, they made sure to message me and say, hey, I'm broke, but I want you to go. You know, and it's like, those are the people that matter the most.
I totally agree with you. We have about a minute or two left. Did you have anything that you want to share about any upcoming projects?
I have a few projects coming up. The first one, I'm doing the 7-day Film Fest shootout that's based in Knoxville, Tennessee. We start next Wednesday, 7 days to make a full film, and after you've done the 48, 7 days, ha, whatever.
Right.
That's nothing, you
Right.
know? And then Dragon Con, which is coming up in 3 weeks, we have a plan to bring the Black Panther cast back out. But this time we're going to have Dora Milaje in tow with us. So we're trying to recreate the entire Royal Guard. We have about 10 Dora Milaje girls who have their costumes. I'm actually making some back at home. So once I leave here, I'm going back to Machitos to get all that taken care of.
Going back to the studio, working on it, yeah.
Yes, totally, the studio.
And Cree, where can people find more information about what you do?
You can look me up on Facebook and Instagram, Cree Michelle Rogers, or brown.sugar.outlaw, and you can see all my misadventures and Cree-nanigans.
And Cree spelled for everybody is Cree.
Yep.
Just so you know. Thank you so much for being on the show today. This has been really a lot of fun, especially being able to nerd out about comic books and stuff like
Yes.
that. I'm like,
We should just start a separate channel where we're just like, hey, did you read that issue? And then I read that issue, and then we could just
yes,
go about
that's
it.
a great idea. So thank you so much for being on the show today, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. And thank you, everybody who saw my live. Thank you so much for sitting with me babbling.
Awesome.